there in the corner? What's that up there?
Oh, a sleigh.
I have a picture of that in front of the house. That's what they used to go to church with in the early 1900s in the winter. That sleigh. And we got parts of harnesses there.
So this would be, who owned that sleigh first, would you say?
That would have been James probably.
Okay,
I don't think it goes back to Patrick.
okay.
Okay, show and tell. Who knows what this is?
I do.
It's a handle.
What?
Handle.
No, that's great, the pigs after they're killed.
After they
escape the
fat. Yeah.
It's also, if they have a heart attack.
after they were scalded. Then what's this? Don knows this too.
Go on ahead, I can't think of what that. Well, they hung them up with the legs.
They put this
A spreader.
through the Achilles tendons.
Yeah.
The spreader, yeah.
And then see that those three posts over there leaning up to this, with the metal rod that goes up? If you look about a quarter way down, there's two spikes or whatever. Then they would support this up there, and the pig would be hanging, and that's how they would gut it.
Butcher.
Gut it, and saw it down the middle. And this also goes with butchering. What's this for?
Meat hook. Well, when they was scalding them,
No, when they, after they had bled the animal and they had them on the bobsled, they, before they'd butcher the animal, before they'd kill it, they'd go down to the cheese factory and get 2 or 3 cans of steaming hot water, and they'd put that in a barrel, and then they'd have to hook this into the jaw of the pig and rub it back and forth in the water, turn it over, rub it. Then they'd pull it up on the platform, and then they'd start taking the hair off.
Did you get to do that, Pete?
Yeah, I had to do that too, yeah.
Life was tough.
You know, at that time that was all interesting, and, you know, it was something that had to be done. But then after I got in my 20s, I didn't like killing things anymore. I ran out of that.
Yeah.
Kids like to help until they had to do it on their own.
Yeah.
Well, no, that was part of living at the time, you know. You had this idea that animals, they were for our food, and that was it, and it was part of nature.
If you didn't do that, you didn't eat.
Now we tend to think of our animals more like friends than we do.
Yeah.
all my brothers went deer hunting. I would never go shoot anything, and I was a meat cutter. Figure that one out. But I got the meat cold.
That's right, you did.
Well, that was like going to work.
Yeah.
I remember I started going along and bring a gun along to deer camp.
This is the first tractor that
No. You just go to play cards, eh?
Yeah.
my dad bought this Farmall H back in 1939, October 39. It was the first one sold out of Appleton on rubber tires. Then a couple of years later, they quit making them during the war. They put them back in steel for about 2 or 3 years. So this thing is about, 72 years old? 72
Still run?
years old? Oh, yeah.
40, 40, that's 60, 70, 72 years old.
So historic as to tires, evolution of tires then, was that the first, like,
Now, I don't know whether whether there must have been other tractors with rubber tires, but this is the first one of this type. So, 1939 is the first year they made this tractor.
oh, okay, there.
And it's also the first year that someone in this area had rubber tires on that kind of tractor.
Did they have blacktop roads then?
No.
Probably not.
No,
Because they couldn't let those tractors go on with just steel on the road.
The tires before that
They had
were
to put like
cleats.
steel rims around.
Really? Oh.
That would-
You know,
So they would eat up a road,
flat,
wouldn't they?
flat with cleats on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any of those old cleats.
I remember my Uncle Steve used to get so mad at that Fordson, it wouldn't start. And he was a big man, about 275 or so. And he would get and start cranking that thing, and the thing was jumping up and down and get it started. Oh,
those
And he'd be cursing, he'd be mad.
oh, he didn't curse, but he was red in the face, and he was saying some things that could have been. But they didn't say that, because that wasn't allowed.
Left for
in the
interpretation.
Okay.
In fact, all of these tractors, like some of them, that one up in front of me, that's from 1948. We bought it at an auction from Clyde Heelan's auction. That was the first year they built those 48Ms too.
household. Yeah.
And then this we got at an auction in the Navy. So this is when my blue one broke down. I had to find a new one, a different one. So I bought this one used, and this is what I use mainly for most of the work. That can actually come with it, right? Let's see, anything else here that catches your eyes? Well, we have old parts of single trees and horses up there.
So you remember the old hay hooks in the barn? It would be on a pulley. My mother just sold one from her barn, and her barn was built in the 1880s, and it had the same kind of hand wedged, construction. And she sold it to an Amish guy. And the Amish guy found out about Mother through just talking with people, and she said, well, check with Frances Shuffle. She's got an old farm. Maybe she's got something in the barn. And that hay hook was in perfect condition. Because it had hung in that barn for I don't know how many years, probably 70 years since they stopped using hay hooks and doing baling. But it was perfect condition on the pulley and everything. Sold it to the guy for $50.
Oh, no.
So he got a pretty
happy.
good deal. Oh yeah, he was happy. But that's okay because he's going to use it, you know.
I had a hay hook.
Uncle
Was
John
it a
had
straight
one.
cord?
But it's
or
not-
grab?
It was a grab like that.
A
Great
grab.
grab hook.
Oh, you
Yeah,
did
we
have
had
to
the
grab
slings.
one.
We had what they call slings over
Yeah.
the grandpas.
Yeah.
The only trouble with those slings, if they break, the hay would fall on the floor and everything, and then you had to pick all that stuff up and put it up.
Did they, now, as I recall, at the farm, they used a sling or around the factory there on the bottom of the wagon, but
Bottom
they
of
still
the
used the
wagon.
fork above it, or did they
About
put?
three slings.
Yeah,
on
three
the
tiers.
wagon.
Three
of
slings? Wow.
Then they would pick it up from the wagon and.
In other words, that
Well,
would go
Tie
in
'em
three
together
swings.
and then pick it up and from the ridge of the barn. And then it would run down,
On pulleys.
and then they'd trip it.
It hit that and then it would go.
They'd swing the rope and get it,
Now, we had the fork that you shoved down.
Oh.
Yeah,
And then there were two little latches.
that's what Uncle John and Aunt Liz had.
And isn't that surprising how there was nothing left in the wagon afterwards?
Yeah, and
Clean.
I used to drive the horses down the grade, they, on a big long
they would
rope.
get most of the,
That's because, it's put on sort of in layers and the bottom would act as,
kind
and
of meshed together.
then we had those pulleys that, I still remember as a kid, I'd be underneath the porch out here when I was playing, and I was building these little,
Oh, okay, nice.
the old shed that